Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome in to this edition of What He Said with Kevin Walker. Of course, I am Kevin Walker. We got a different face on the screen tonight, y'all. That ain't T Money. That ain't Terry. That's my boy Mike, man. That's Mike, y'all, UPS finest.
What's up, man?
Man, from Brooklyn, New York, man. So we're gonna get
Most
a
definitely.
variance of opinions, man. Somebody that's not Texas born and bred. We're gonna get some New York life into this thing tonight. Mike, what's up, brother?
Not much, man. Just cooling right now.
Good. So honestly, what me and Mike came to do tonight, it's gonna be a brother's chat. It's only for the fellas on the show, but we want the ladies to chime in and let us know how far out in left field we really are with our thoughts on our opinions. Or, ladies, what you really may need to do is listen to our thoughts and opinions and learn the right things to say to your man in the moment. That's the purpose of this. That's why we want to do this. That's why we sitting down. That's why I'm getting a difference of opinions with my man Mike Yard versus having and Terry on the men right now. Anyway, my man Terry had a surgical procedure, so he's on the men. We're gonna pray for Terry that he comes back 110% healthy and well. That's been my brother a long time, as y'all know. So we're gonna dive right in. Uh, so the first time I had the opportunity, of course, to meet Mike and talk to Mike, obviously it was through another UPS worker. Is how we met, and man, me and Mike shared some of the common things about heading into new relationships. Hey, we both were saying, look, he was like, Kev, I feel you on I'm maintaining my level of abstinence in the moment, not sleeping with the next two or three women or the current woman I'm dating because I want to go into this thing a little different than what I've went into relationships in the past. And Mike, that honestly was my own thought, my own opinion about it. Like I've said this on the show plenty of times since I started doing the podcast. Like, Mike, I was a high school football star, high
Mhm.
school basketball star, played major college football at Texas Tech, and then came home and still was able, and maybe not home to Houston, but out of the sports world. And, I mean, you lived that life being a basketball player and play collegiately. When you get the opportunity to have your way, man, sometimes you want to do a little something different. So my thing is this. This was my point and my point only. I'm 53. I'm single. In every relationship I've ever had and started, I led with my penis.
Definitely.
So what I did say, and I prayed about this, and I asked God to show me something different, Mike. That was my prayer, to show me something different, lead me down a better path so that maybe I may attract the woman you would have me to be with next. Because I also said the next woman who get me is gonna get the best me.
Definitely.
Uh, so I wanted God to lead me in a direction, man, that I had never been gone before. Because if I couldn't do nothing else, Mike, I'm gonna be real with you, brother. I can go get some pussy. Hey, women will fuck you before
Easy.
they feed you.
Easy.
Letting you lay down with them don't take no effort. If they invite you over to dinner, they gotta cook. So you know how that goes. They'll give you something before anything else. But so, Mike, what put you in the mindset, brother, of starting your journey of wanting to do something a different way, leading into the relationship?
I think both our situations are close to identical. And the first time I got a chance to talk to you, it was a sense of relief because I never really met a brother that was really going through what I was going through, wanted the same journey. And everything that came out of your mouth, I was just like, it was a breath of fresh air because I don't really know too many men that want to go down the same journey that me and you are trying to do. So once I actually heard it from someone, it just it gave me confidence, it gave me strength to continue to pursue that. And I don't know, man. That first conversation we had was the best conversation I had in a long time.
Yeah, yeah.
You were able to just really just pick my mind, which actually was actually your feelings and our feelings were mutual. So it helped me out and it gave me a lot more confidence to keep pushing that route and not just let pressure, not just let myself not follow God's path.
Yeah.
And it felt good, man. You don't understand. When I got off the phone with you, man, it really gave me a boost of energy to where, okay, I got somebody else riding the same way I'm trying to ride. And I want to do something different. You know, every last relationship that I've been in has always been a sexual thing. You know, that was how you lead it off. That's how that's how you engage in it. You know, sometimes relationships are based on that. And I know my past relationships have failed, and I just said I want to do something different this time. And what haven't I done in the past? And I pinpointed what I haven't done, and that was just me not moving forward and just having a sexual relationship, but just having something connected through God. So
I think no, go ahead, make your point. Go ahead.
No, that just was something that I had confidence in that I could make. I knew it wasn't going to be easy. Still not easy, and it's rough, you know. So I can't say that this journey has just been a breeze for me. You know, it's rough because it's not just how I feel. There's another person involved that has too. So I gotta kind of, you know, maneuver through that and hope that they can ride the wave that I'm on. So that's the tough part right there. So
and when we talk about relationships, one of the things that we also have to keep in mind and into consideration is the other party, the way the other person feels in the moment about whatever it is you're dealing with or going through, or your particular journey. You want to be considerate. And hey, I think you nailed it when you said it ain't easy.
Not at all.
Hey, look, hey man, I tell people all the time, like, I didn't expect for it to be easy.
Right.
And then what makes it even tougher for me currently in the moment is that all night, every night, I'm sleeping next to I don't even know. Hey man.
Oh man.
So, and the thing about her is that she want to be all up under you and putting that old killer thigh on you in the middle of the night. And hey man, I just, you know, I had a conversation with Kim about my journey, and when I asked God, I didn't ask God to deliver me from anything.
Right.
I just asked God, what would he have me to do in order to send me someone or to make me a better man for the long haul?
Definitely.
That's what I asked God for. And like I told her, you didn't make the commitment, I did. So if you can't withstand that, hey, I get it. I ain't gonna be mad at you. If you want to do something different, of course I can't stop you. You know, but I would hope that we would have enough respect for each other to, you know, move around instead of doing things inside the confines of a situation or of a relationship. And, you know, I think when you have conversations about where you are and what's going on and what you're going through, I think for the long haul, that keeps away any toxicity that could seep into the moment. Definitely. Because we know lack of communication or a communication barrier can be considered toxic. Definitely. If the way you communicate with each other is with cuss words or saying negative things that can hurt each other's feelings or anything along those lines with communication can definitely be toxic in the moment in a relationship. So, I mean, I agree with you, man. It's a tough road to hoe. I would say it's tough because, Mike, we've never done it before. We've never tried to do it before.
Yeah.
I was married for 22 years. I ain't had no reason to try and do it.
Right.
But what I can say, and I don't know your story, but for me, at 50 plus years old, hey man, this date game is horrible. Horrible. I ain't gonna say bad. I'm gonna say it's horrible. At 50 plus years old to be out here trying to date somebody, man. It's horrible.
I agree 100%. I think one of the things that I've come to realize is, as hard of a struggle it is for me, I can only imagine how she's feeling on the other end, and it's not easy. It's a situation where you have to get on the same page. You have to really pray about it. You know, you gotta be united as one to just try to get past this journey. But like you said, you know, it's something that we chose to do, and not necessarily what they chose to do. But if they decide to go with you with that journey, then, you know, sometimes here's a prime example is they might not feel loved if you're not overly affectionate with them. But if you get overly affectionate with somebody, that can lead to something else. So you gotta kind of,
it's a fine line.
Yeah, you gotta figure out where that line is to where
yeah.
You know, I mean, a little kiss on the neck can just trigger a whole lot of feelings, you know. So it's tough, man. It's not easy at all. It's not easy for me. It's not easy for her, and I got to try to find a way to balance it. So when she's feeling a certain way and not being loved, you know, I got to try to come up with some type of solution to comfort her and also give her affection without going past that line. So
okay, so let me ask you this, Mike. I'm going to ask you the golden question that for months and months and months on this show we've debated. Some people are on my side, some people are on the other side with it. So I'm going to ask you. So when we talk about being intimate, when I say sex, I'm speaking penetration. I'm speaking penetration when I talk not having sex. So some people say any form of affection, if you're using your penis or she's using her vagina. So you telling me if I reach down and play with her, that's sex? Oh, you can't hear me. Hold on. Let me see what's going on. Can you hear me now? Hey, Mike, go out and come back in. All right, we'll get Mike back in here in a second when he come back. So what my question has been, and we've talked about this many a times in the past when relationships have come up, and so you're telling me that's what I say, Chris, that sex is sex. Penetration is sex. Foreplay is not sex. Nobody's never gotten pregnant off of foreplay. No kids have ever been formed off of foreplay. So I argue the fact with people all the time that oral sex is intercourse. If I'm abstaining from intercourse, what does me receiving fellatio from a young lady or giving, either way, hey, I'm grown. What does that have to do? Let's get Mike back in here.
Yeah, I'm back now.
Okay. Yeah, so my point is, Mike, and some people are already asking, I'm going to read the answers. So we're talking about, I says, what does fellatio, me going down on my mate or my mate going down on me? It is not intercourse. That is not intercourse. How many babies have been had in the history of oral sex? How many babies have been had by somebody getting ate out or somebody giving somebody else a shot of head? Let me know if you know anybody that's gotten pregnant over a shot of head, because I don't. So in my world, that ain't intercourse. That's pleasuring your mate in the moment. So let me read some of these comments right quick, Mike. Well, I got Randy Kelly who says oral sex is sex. I disagree, Randy, but that's your opinion. Yvette Francis said, if they have an orgasm, it's sex. Okay, let's go back to Greg because they saying right, Greg. Greg said, give me a break. We foreplay, we having sex. No, Greg, you don't. Come on, bird dog. You don't always have to. So Nicole Rogers said, all or nothing. But we know Nick and So Chris Reedy said, nah, sex is sex. Foreplay is foreplay. Exactly. That's all I'm saying. If it's foreplay, Mike, it ain't sex, in my opinion. You might feel different. What you think, Mike?
Well, I think that I consider it sex because if she blowing me out, then and I have orgasm, then that's where I'm trying to get to. So I think I consider it sex as well. But I mean, maybe I need to start thinking different, man, so I can start having a little more fun. So I need to reconsider that one and think about that one a little bit more. So I agree with the other ones. You know, it's I consider sex.
Okay, here's my thing.
Now, foreplay, no, I don't consider foreplay sex. But if you talking about I'm about to release, then yeah.
So if your girl is in the kitchen cooking and you walk up behind her and kiss her on the neck while she cooking, hey, that's foreplay.
True.
That's foreplay. It just ain't happening in the bedroom, but it's foreplay.
No doubt. I'm cool with the foreplay. Foreplay is definitely not sex. So I'm cool with the foreplay. But if we talking about busting off, then hey, that's me engaging. So foreplay, nah, foreplay is good. But I know that foreplay gonna lead to something else though. So you gotta be a little careful.
So Greg Burton says,
kiss on the neck, maybe we good.
Greg Burton says, she pulling my cock, we having sex. Trishana say, not really.
Oh man.
Chris Reedy said, touching ain't sex, but head is sex.
Yeah.
But that's foreplay, Chris. Now you just agreed with me that sex is sex and foreplay is foreplay. So she said it's a thin line. Okay, I'll ride with that. Yeah. I'll ride with it being a thin line. So Mike, when you meet a young lady, maybe not so much at what point, but over the course of, hey, you starting to feel her, she feeling you, and you setting boundaries.
Right.
Or is there a point early on in conversation where I'm just telling you about me and she just telling me about her? Is that kind of an informal form of setting boundaries in a relationship about, hey, what you expect, what she expect, what you don't like, what she don't like? So when you set boundaries, is that a direct conversation or do you set boundaries indirectly?
I would think that I'm going to put it all on the table as far as what I want out of a relationship, what I want out of a relationship, and what my beliefs are. So it's I got to put it all on the table, and then but the first initial conversation is, it's a process that you put on the table throughout different conversations. But the initial conversation, you know, I want to give her my beliefs and what I want out of a relationship. That way, she can think about it and be like, you know, nah. If he talking about not hitting it, then I'm gonna move around. Or hey, I'll try to do that. So I want to give them that option from the beginning. That way, they can sit back and think about, do they want to go a little bit further? Because you never know what's on their mind as well.
So what about, Mike, the boundaries as far as, hey, we gonna live together, we not gonna live together while we date? Because some women have an expectation, hey, shit, he got his shit together, he got his own crib. Why am I gonna pay rent over here?
Nah.
So do you have that conversation and run them off? What if it's a motherfucker who you really want, who you really feel? Do you really want to have that conversation and run her off?
Yeah, I need to have that because we need to have our separate spots. So that definitely needs to be discussed, because it's easy for someone to come visit and get a little comfortable and not necessarily just leave. And then you go from a t-shirt and bra to suitcase to, everything else is in there. So I'm strongly believe that before marriage that we have to have separate places. So I'm gonna stick with that, definitely. So if I run her off, then that's just it just wasn't meant to be. I gotta look at it that way. So
we have the sexual conversation about the sexual expectation.
definitely.
We have the living arrangement conversation about the expectations of how we're going to live before we're married. So what about the financial aspect of how bills are going to be paid? Or, sometimes you have women with a mindset that a man should pay the way for them, even when we just talking simple dinner every time, right? I mean, some men don't have no problem with it. I don't really have a big problem with it. I have a problem, honestly, with the expectation. I have a problem with a woman expecting me to be forced to pay every time we do something together. That I do have a problem with.
I agree with you. I have a problem with that as well. But I'm 90% of the time I'm gonna come out of the pocket. So that's just how. But like you said, the expectations, nah. Especially if you call me and say, "Hey, you want to go out to dinner?" If you calling me and saying let's go out to dinner, I'm thinking, you treat me, not, So in that situation right there, if you invited me and say, "Hey, let's go out to dinner," I'd rather you say, "Can you take me out to dinner?"
Mm-hmm.
Then it's understood what my role
what the
is.
expectation is.
There you go. So
let me tell you a situation I was in, Mike. So a buddy of mine, Terry, that's normally on the show with me, him and his wife invited me to go on a cruise. So at the time, I really wasn't dating anybody seriously. So the one chick who I was kind of seeing off and on, I was like, "Hey, you want to go on the cruise? I'll pay for the cruise. I ain't tripping. If you want to go." She's like, "Cool, yeah, I want to go." I never said really in the beginning I'd pay for it. I just asked her if she wanted to go. So then I said, "Well, I'll tell you what, I'm going to pay for the cruise. Why don't you pay for the drink package?"
Right.
She had a problem with me asking her to pay for the drink package. So after going round and round about this, with her coming up with all these different excuses about how we can do this for the drinks and that for the drinks, and I was like, you know what? I told my partner, "Hey, man, thank you for the invite. I ain't going, we ain't going, she ain't going." My only problem was, so I'm finna spend a couple of grand to take us on a trip, and you can't spend $300 or $400 to pay for some drinks? Like, that's bullshit to me. And
definitely,
that's why I think I'm where I'm at now. And I'm gonna read these comments that people are commenting in here. That's why I think I am where I am now, because regardless of what people think about Kim or who Kim is, regardless of what they think, one thing about it at the end of the day, even when we dated back in 2017, I was telling somebody this earlier, Kim would beat me pulling out her card to pay for something. If we went out to eat or if we just went and had drinks, I'd be like, "I got it, Kim." She'd be like, "Here, take my," So, right. And it wasn't about not having it. It was about the fact that she didn't mind doing it, which made me feel even more obligated to do it.
Yeah.
So I don't know if she was pulling some Jedi mind tricks and get me to pay sometime or what. But I really honestly appreciated the fact that this woman would take on the financial obligation of taking care of the date.
Yeah, that I think that right there speaks with volumes. The fact that there's an effort to do that. So, and I think in those situations, I'd be like, nah, go ahead and keep your money. I got it. But then there's certain times where I'd be like, okay, well, go ahead, you
Yeah,
know,
yeah,
and just enjoy it. So because you got to think about how they feeling, you know, like in their mind, they thinking like you always got it. So just let me treat you and let you feel good, and I'll go ahead and take that.
yeah,
So
yeah.
I'm cool with that.
So let me go back and read some of these comments because a lot of people have commented. Mike, they want to know if you're single. I had about 4 people ask if you were single. Randy Kelly said, Mike, you don't believe in living together?
Nah, not at all.
So
Not at all.
I'll
I'm
let you
totally
respond to Mrs. Kelly comment right quick.
I can't see the comments. What Miss Kelly talking about?
Well, she just wanted to know if you were single, well, she didn't say single. She said you don't believe in living together.
Nah, I don't believe in that at all.
Trishana Williams said, Mike, do you plan on getting married anytime soon?
I don't know. I don't know. I mean, marriage is my ultimate goal, but it's just to me it's levels to this. So in order for me to feel that way, everything got to be real smooth, you know.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
things, you know, I'm in a situation where communication is an issue, you know, and I'm getting to know her some more. So I'm more focused on the relationship part. Marriage will come down the line if we can get through the situation that we're having right now. I'm one thing I'm not going to do. I'm not going to go into marriage if we got issues just to be getting married. It got to be smooth with me, man.
Yeah.
I can't. It got to be real smooth, and that might be asking a lot, but you know.
So my man Greg Burton commented. Me and Greg played at Texas Tech together back in the early '90s. Greg said about setting boundaries. Greg said, I think what you're getting at is in the beginning of dating, as soon as you have sex with each other, it now clouds the mind. You haven't really gotten a chance to know each other. So it's like once you start having sex, basically, yeah, that does cloud your judgment, cloud your understanding. Because if she the bomb, or she feel like you the bomb, she gonna have more of a propensity to do stuff that she ain't gonna do out of her just being who she is. Because then she'll start to like you on a whole nother emotional level.
Definitely.
Felicia Williams says, as it relates to setting boundaries, you just need to be honest with each other.
I agree. 100%.
Michelle Walker Bryant says she agrees separate places with Mike. Chris Reading said all that should be covered as the relationship progresses, the setting boundaries. Yvette Francis said separate places. So if it doesn't work, nobody has to start over. Yeah, I agree with that. That same thing Darryl McClendon said. He agreed with that as well. Jessica said, oh, hell, she should have at least covered the, oh, they talking about the drinks on the cruise. She said she should at least cover the tips and the cocktails. Lori said that she would have gotten a drink package. She would have paid for it, and she'd have some more drinks in the luggage. Ready to roll.
That's what I'm talking about right there.
Yvette Francis came back and said, I have seen women giving their card to a man, and he took it to pay. Yeah, I've seen that too. So Jessica said, yes, that's grown. See, oh shit, Kim, what did you say? That's how you treat your. Oh, she was commenting on what I said about how Kim would take care of the bill sometimes, most times. Jessica said that's some grown woman shit. That's how you take care of your man. That's how you trick your man into becoming your man, Jessica. That's what that is. So Randy Kelly came back and said, is there a time frame over 45 when dating before you decide the relationship isn't going anywhere and you decide to let it go? I'll let you come in on that first, Mike.
Repeat that one more time for me.
She said, is there a time when you're over 45 years old and dating someone and you just know that relationship ain't going nowhere? When should you decide to let it go?
That's a tough one. In my mind, I want to say immediately, but I ain't gonna be that rough. I think when you see it going that direction, then you need to
Ron Love say 5 days.
Put it like this, man. I think if you're in that situation, you got to communicate a little more and at least be honest and be like, hey, I'm on the fence of us going our separate ways, and just is this it? Is there anything else that we can possibly do to progress forward? And if she can't, then maybe them 5 days might be good. I don't know. I'll give them a little more than 5 days though, man.
Yeah, I think when you're saying, Randy, when you're asking the question at what point should you let it go, I think we all have our mental boundaries of things we want to accept, things we want to take, things we don't want to take. And so I think it depends on how many times mentally that line gets crossed in your mind. Because if somebody has shit on you multiple times, especially at our age, like we're too damn old to be playing games.
Definitely.
So if somebody has shit on you multiple times, like at some point you got to draw a line in the sand and be prepared to move on.
Yeah.
So it depends on everybody's walking papers or walking points are different. Okay, I'm gonna use me first for example. So having been married, having gone through some things in marriage, there's some signs of some things from women that I'm not willing to tolerate from the next woman because I know what I went through in the past being married. So when I start spotting that same trauma, I'm not trying to trauma bond with nobody. And for those of you who don't know what trauma bonding is, it's people who come together because they can relate from a place of hurt. I'm not trying to trauma bond with nobody.
Not at all.
What I'm trying to do is knock down all the Lego blocks and start brand new with my Lego blocks. That's why I said the sexual side of the game, like, man, look, I can wait on. I promise I can. So if you get somebody, Randy, that's drinking too much, that's maybe partying too much, you talk about, you said 45 and beyond. I believe that if they ain't getting up, either beating you to work or you or not beating you home, like at some point, there's got to be some standards in place. That's why I said about setting boundaries early on in conversation. It ain't me trying to run you or me trying to tell you what you can and can't do. It's about setting boundaries as far as what I would like and what I expect. And I would expect for you to do the same thing to me. Not saying, well, if you're gonna do this, then I ain't gonna be. No. That's not where I'm going. What I'm saying is, and this is just me. This is just me talking. If I meet a woman and she tell me that she's a Jehovah's Witness, this just me. I know right then and there, I'm not the man for you. I'm not dating a Jehovah's Witness woman. So I'm going to be wasting your time and you're going to be wasting my time. That's just me. Because I believe in God. I don't believe in a lot of the things that Jehovah's Witness people believe in. So there are certain things off the muscle that I'm just not going to put up with. If I see you overly attached, like ain't no reason why I should come pick you up in the morning because we're gonna go have breakfast. And you say, "Oh yeah, my baby daddy spent the night because he wanted to spend some time with his kids." Bitch, you got me fucked. Mike.
Oh, man.
No, ma'am. No, ma'am.
Nah.
I'm out of there. Sean Eaglin. Sean Eaglin says, when it starts to disturb your peace, there you go. When it starts to disturb your peace and affect your sanity, it's time to make a decision. Yeah, I agree.
I agree 100% with that.
Yeah, I totally agree.
Definitely.
Who's Shauna? Let me go back to Shauna's comment. I don't see it, Kim. What is that? Huh? I don't see Shauna comment. What she say? So let me read Trishana's comment. I don't see it on your phone. Oh, are you looking to get married? What? Hold on, y'all. This makes for horrible TV. My director right here wants to point me in the right direction. So, Mike, let's talk about a mutual respect. That if you're gonna date someone, again, like Randy just mentioned, that at 45, I was saying 50 years. Okay, we can say at 45. Oh my God. Shauna said, Mike, your accent is sexy.
Thank you, Shauna. My bad.
Nikki said, Mike, you have something to wait a minute. Mike, you have something to drink. These women, you have something for these women to drink because they're thirsty. I see that. I see that. So is Nikki shooting at Shauna? Nikki said, thirsty. Oh, Nikki saying Shauna thirsty.
Oh.
I ain't got nothing to do with that. So let's talk about the mutual respect in the relationship, Mike, that you got to have with somebody. And that at what point does that line, or what's considered crossing the line? If you're talking about the respect factor being out the door, or what is mutual respect for your mate? How do you gain respect? Do you go in respecting that person, or does that person earn your respect?
I think in the beginning you go into it to where
Ma'am, you're very loud.
Very loud. So I think going into it, it's not about earning the respect. I'm gonna give them the respect off the top. So they can easily decline from that respect from their actions, but off top, I'm gonna give them the benefit of the doubt. So, and hopefully they'll do the same in return. So I don't, they don't have to earn it, but it has to be. That's another situation that needs to be discussed. Like, what do you consider being disrespectful? You know, and to me, there's a lot of factors that come into play as far as disrespect. You know, number one, my family. My family is very important to me, and I'm gonna stress that off top. So if I say my family is very important to me, that means, you know, I'm gonna spend a lot of time with my family, and I'm gonna have to balance my family with my relationship. You know, because I've suffered a lot of loss. So the ones that are here, you know, it's precious time for me. So that has to be. And when I say time with my family, I'm not saying us and the family. That's me and my family. That's just like my niece just went out. You know, there's certain times where she might check me and say, "Hey, you've been working a lot of hours, you've been going, you've been doing all this, and then you know, I gotta stop and realize what I'm doing and say, okay, me and
Yeah.
you can go ahead and do something this weekend and just go from there. So it's a balance, because I need for someone to have their own friends and their own family and to be able to do their own thing. You know, I don't want nobody that's real clingy and don't have a life. You know, every time you go to leave, they questioning and saying, you know, you just did something, you know, a week ago. No, I need for them to have a life. That way, it'll help me out.
But Mike, what's too much though? What's too much? Because we can say have their own life and do their own thing, and you know, let's have some space in there between us. But at what point is it too much? Because here's my thing. Because once you start really feeling her, or once we start wanting that female to be number one, at what point is it them going too much? I mean, how do you that line? How do you put that line in the sand and say, look, you was out last Friday and Saturday night, you trying to go somewhere this Friday, and that's another grown person. So with me, that's what I'm asking. What's too much?
Too much as far as the female, it's never too much for me, because I like my space, I like my time. So if she's going out excessively, I can handle it. I can handle it. You know, it's different if you're going out excessively and you coming home and you're, you know, overly intoxicated. You know, you're not really taking care of yourself out there. You know, I don't want to get no phone call saying, hey, can you pick me up? I drank too much. You know, I don't want, you know, her girlfriends calling saying, can she stay the night? You know, she's throwing up, you know, stuff like that. That's when the situation gets that's when it's not being tolerated.
Here, Mike just said,
you got to be able to handle yourself as a woman, just like I got to handle myself as a man. But
and I agree. We just had that conversation the other night. We were on the phone with a friend, and I was telling Kim, like, you can't call me saying I can't make it home, I'm drunk, I'm at my mama's house. Because your grown ass shouldn't have got to that level of drunk.
Right.
Now, it's different you staying at your mama's house if one of your parents are sick and you over there trying to help take care of daddy or help take care of mama, you know, while they sick. Okay, that's absolutely understandable. That's absolutely cool. But right. That, oh, I'm going to spend the night at my homegirl house shit? No, absolutely not. Absolutely not.
Yeah.
All that, I'm staying 3-4 nights at the B&B in Cyprus. You got me fucked up. You know, just no, Mike. The B&B, the Airbnb. Yeah, the B&B, same thing, bed and bath. That can't happen, Mike. I'm sorry. That's just me. That can't happen. Now, what can happen is you and the girls go to the DR on a girls' trip. What can happen is you and the girls go to Cancun on a girls' trip. You and the girls go shopping in New York. I'm totally understandable. I'm totally cool with that. But right here in the city, you can't come home? Come on, man. Houston ain't that big. Houston ain't that big. I'm not going for that. So my thing is this, Mike. And everybody can feel how they want to feel about it. If you want to live that type of lifestyle, stay single. That's single people shit. So if you want to live that lifestyle, just stay single.
Yeah.
And here's what I noticed. Here's what I noticed about women. If you don't tell them what you know, they will look at your ass and lie to the very depth of the situation. I mean, life could be just sucked out of something, and women will look at your ass and lie to the end. To the end, they will look at you and lie, and you thinking like, motherfucker, That ain't what's said. That ain't where you were. I know where you were. But they'll look at you and lie.
Yeah.
But I digress. I digress. Oh my God. You know, because I'm going to give an example. I'm going to give an example, Mike. So there's a particular situation of a guy who I know you've been on several dates with because it got mentioned to me just on GP. Not nobody even snitching or being messy because they didn't even know.
Right.
So if we at a bar and this guy show up at the bar, not for you, just so happen to show up, and now you off to the side, kiki kakai, like it ain't no big deal. And I know you'd have been on dates with this dude. And I'm like, really? So you just finna, oh no, he was just asking me something. Fuck him. Like that's the kind of shit that women do, not knowing I already know you done been on dates with this dude. Because somebody done gave me the 411 on accident. So I would rather you walk back over to where I am, and if I choose to say something to you, say to me, "Oh yeah, he likes me, but shit, I don't fuck with him like that, or I don't feel it." You know, make me feel better that way.
Right.
But you know,
communicate.
Anyway, again, I digress, Mike. So hold on, who is this long ass comment on here? Jessica. She said, "In this day, you're building a rapport and building relationship, gathering data and communicating to figure out each other's ways and respecting each other's space. You need your individual me time, male time, kid time, family time. Your partner should respect that." I agree, Jessica, 110%. Randy, that shit ain't player made. You finna get a motherfucker beat up. So, Mike, let's touch on tough times.
All right.
So, what happens? I'm gonna use Kim and I for an example. Kim and I dating. We've been dating a year, year and a half, 2 years, and I say, Kim, I think God done called me to preach. And Kim say, I didn't sign up for that. I didn't sign up to be a first lady. I didn't sign up to be married to a pastor. What happens when her health fails? And I go to her and say, man, Kim, I hate you going through what you're going through, but hey, we just dating. I didn't sign up to be a nurse.
Right.
And she can come back to me and say, hey, I didn't sign up to be a purse, nigga. I didn't sign up to take care of you financially. So if nobody's signing up to be a nurse or a purse, what's the understanding, or how do you push through the tough times? Is that more communication? Or being a good person, hanging in there just cause? Because you got to be an awfully low grade motherfucker. Let's be real, to leave a person when they down. I mean, sick or ill or.
I agree. I think that it's nothing that neither one of us sign up for, but in a time like that, you got to have a heart. You got to have a little compassion about what that person might be going through. Now, if this situation is going on for about a year or two and you just can't take it, then you got to start figuring out what's your next move and be honest with that person. So it's like you said, you got to be a low down person. If someone gets sick and you just be like, I ain't signed up for it, goodbye. Nah, I'm gonna hang in there for a while and figure out what I can do to make the situation better, and just help them out for as long as I can help them. So that's a situation about when you say you might want to become a pastor or a preacher. I can understand a woman saying, I don't want to be I didn't sign up to be no first lady because I still like to do certain things. I like to wear certain clothes. You know, I like to go certain places, and I don't want to be judged because this is my fun zone. So that's a tough situation to where it's a give or take situation. So you got to really think hard about it because you got to respect both ends and figure out how you can get past that. You know.
Yeah, I just Yvette Francis said, Kim, these new age first ladies are different. I think you can get them a run for their money.
True.
Randy Kelly said, be real with yourself first. I don't expect anything from anyone that I'm not willing to give. I agree.
Definitely.
My boy Mako chimed in all the way from Mako. What country you in? Mako said, you have to have clear-cut parameters in the beginning. Still in this day and age, folks only give a damn about what's good for them, forgetting the commitment that was made. That's true. Nicole Rogers said, well, you're doing too much while not married. Your vows tell you till death do us part, sickness and in health. That's true, Nicole. You're right. Greg Burton said it's either commitment or it isn't. I agree, Greg. Randy say he was called, not me. What's up, Ebony? Ebony says, if people learn to take the word, it's not hold up. You got me on that one, Ebony. You might have to type that over. She said, if people learn to take the word, it's not I and it when they hang in and do whatever it takes to make both parties happy. Yeah, she said typo. Okay, that's what. Jessica said your vows can be overrated. But you still got to be committed to them, though, Jess. So let's talk about the language barrier, Mike. Okay. And what I meant by the language barrier when I typed this up was the understanding of communication, the way we speak to each other normally versus how we speak to each other when there's an issue. Because here's the thing that I've said to Kim, because, hey, you know she can string some words together. Here's the problem I have with the cussing. If you talk like that when we good, how much worse is it going to get, Mike, when there's an issue, when we're trying to iron something out, when we upset with each other?
Right.
So then what's going to be the lines or the words used when you mad? What are you going to say when you upset? What words are you going to string together when you're mad?
Right.
The one thing I know about this woman, she likes to be the center of attention. Wouldn't you agree with that, Mike?
I
heard you say it the other day. Don't back up on that shit now.
Hey, not necessarily the center of attention. It's you know what? Her personality makes her the center of attention. So I don't think she's trying to. I think just her personality puts her in that position. So I'm gonna ride with that.
Couldn't say yes, she can. Put some words together. But no, just the language barrier, man, and how you guys have to talk to each other, how you guys have to be able to communicate in a way that it's respectful to both parties.
Yeah. I really think that I really haven't ran into that issue with my relationship as far as the language part. I think my mouth might be a little more fouler than hers, so it's probably something I need to work with. But I'm not. It's not a bad situation, but every once in a while, you know, when I get a little upset, yeah, I might say a few things, but I'm not trying to be hurtful. I'm just expressing myself. But I think overall, I don't, you know, that's not really an issue. That's not really an issue that I've had to deal with in this relationship or even in the past. So that I've been blessed not have to really have to encounter with that.
So, Mike, the other night when we were at the table and she went into her Scorpio rant, you really thought she was talking to the dude behind her? You really thought that?
I know for a fact she was, because initially when she asked me, I was like, nah, I don't remember. And then I thought about it. I remember that guy down in her ear saying something, and that's when the fuse got lit and she blew. But I think what got misunderstood was you were talking. I think it was one or two other people talking.
Yeah,
so
Shauna was talking.
Shauna was talking, and then he was like right in her ear, basically saying, "You better do something." And I don't know if you know Kim, you better not say you better do something, especially when it has something to do with her health and her eating. So he was in her ear, and that's when the fuse hit. I knew for sure she wasn't even talking about you or giving that energy towards you. But when that energy hits, it's like a blackout. It's like, it's left, right, left, up, down. Like, nah, I ain't doing that. So it could have been misunderstood. But I did see dude in her ear, and then he tried to come back after she blew up. It was like, I'm just playing, or whatever he said to her. But I knew for sure she wasn't directing that towards you.
Yeah, I thought she was, but I only brought that up because I wanted us to talk about really quick before we get out of here. Do you handle heated moments in the moment, or do you wait to communicate about the moment later? I'm not saying you get quiet and act like you're in high school and walk around not talking, because what I did, I waited till the next day because we left that situation. We went and we had more drinks, and they had drinks. I was just kind of the designated driver because I wanted her to have a good time for her birthday. But my thing was the next day when I did say something, she was like, "Why you didn't say nothing about this yesterday?" I'm like, "Because it wasn't the time. It's a time and place for everything." And I felt like you were talking to me in the moment. You say you weren't, but I felt like you was. And so I felt like with her being heated, and if I would have said, "Hey, wait one goddamn minute," or whatever, thinking you addressing me, then it could have really got blown out of proportion.
Yeah.
So I think when there is a heated moment, I think sometimes it's better to say, "Hey, look, let's come to an agreement that, number one, we already said we're not going to talk to each other like this.
Right.
Number two, let's agree that we're going to wait, we're going to hold off and handle this situation a little better later on when cooler heads prevail." I think as grown folks, it's better to walk away and wait sometimes.
Yeah, I think with me, I'm going to try to address it. And I guess that's just the New York in me, because I'm going to be like, "Yo, you addressing that to me?" And that way, that person has an opportunity to say yes or no. So if they say yes, then that's when I'll kick in and say, "Okay, we'll talk about it later. There's too many people around." But I guess I'm going to ask the question initially. Is that towards me? Is that energy for me, or like what's going on? Because I think I'm gonna hit it as soon as it happens and just ask the question. That way, she gives an answer whether it is or not. So that way, if she says no, it wasn't for you, she can point out and say, "No, it's this nigga right here behind me in my ear telling me what." So I understand your point, but at the same time, I like for things to be handled on the spot. If it's real heated, sometimes you can't calm people down, So, but I will ask that question: "Hey, is that energy for me, or did I miss something?" That way, I can decide how to handle it from there.
Let me read some of these comments. So they're speaking on Kim's outburst the other night. It says you have to handle the situation methodically, intentionally to avoid conflict. True. So Randy Kelly says, Kim, sound like a time for some head. She was talking to you, baby. That's all right. We'll talk about it later. Ron Love say you got to have mental telepathy as couples. Greg Burton says respect always. Jessica says, right, Kevin. You have to let the Scorpio calm down because we speak our mind, because we got to be heard, and we feel the need to explain the situation. But she didn't explain the situation, Jessica. I came back and revisited a day later because I wanted to get it. I didn't want to walk around with no disrespect in my mind thinking she was talking to me. I just didn't address it in the moment, like Mike said, because there was too many people around. I mean, we were in a public environment. Felicia Williams said, Mako, why would you say that? Not a true statement. Men can be something as well. Nicole Rogers said, if she was getting that D, she would have been tamed on the spot. Well, Nicole, she's gotten the D. Not recently, but she has gotten it before. That's why she's so patiently waiting now.
Yeah, because she knows.
She know what the D brings to her life. Down McKinney say, man, you know them. So, last thing we're gonna touch on tonight, Mike, before we go. Is the adjustment period. And where I'm coming from with the adjustment period in mind, I'm pointing more so in once you make the decision that this is where I want to be, she's who I want to be with, and y'all invade each other's space, y'all come together as one, y'all living under the same roof. I know individually it's about the patience of each person. Everybody's patience gets rattled differently.
Right.
But how many times is too many times? For her to come say, Mike, you peed again in the toilet and you ain't flushing. Or Mike, you down. Or Mike, why you getting a new glass every time? Because Mike been living by himself. So Mike used to getting a new glass every time he go pour some water. So who are you to come tell Mike to stop getting a new glass? That bothers her because I get the cup every time I get something free. So Mike, how long is the adjustment period, brother? We're gonna wrap this up.
That's a tough question right there as far as the period. It's all about your tolerance, and how much can you tolerate with that adjustment. I can't really put a time frame on it because we all have our breaking points. We all have situations to where we get a little more stern and be like, yo, this is who I am and this is how it's going to be. So as far as a time frame, that would be tough for me to put because I don't know. It's all about how I feel when I'm going through it, So as far as a time frame, that's kind of tough for me to give you that though. That's real rough.
Yeah. So, hey, Mike, thank you, man, for coming on and chopping it up with me, having good quality grown man conversation.
Yeah, definitely.
For me, I've been doing this now for like a year and a half.
Right.
So many nights and so many times by myself. But I think what this has honestly supplied me with is a source of therapy without having to pay for a therapist.
Definitely.
Allows me to voice my opinions about some things that I desire, and voice my opinion about some things that I don't desire, that I don't want to be a part of. I think when you talk relationships, I think everything about a relationship starts and ends with the word respect.
Definitely.
Man, if you can't respect the person that you're with, or that person can't respect you and respect your boundaries, respect what you are and who you are, then you really don't have yourself nothing.
Definitely.
And for me, the one thing I never want to do, because I saw several people mention the word marriage, I never want to get married to be divorced ever again in life. And the one thing that I've promised God is that I do want to give Kim, since she is the next woman I'm dealing with, the best of me, which is all of me, the best I can.
Right.
No, I'm not perfect. Yes, we're going to bump heads. No, we're not going to agree with each other about everything. But what we don't have to do is fall out when we have disagreements.
Right.
Hey, we both are 50 plus. She's a little older than me, but we both are 50 plus. And I just truly believe that there's no point or no time that y'all are under the same roof, whether it's living together or spending the night or just having a good time, to where she get upset or I'm upset, and then we stop communicating and we walk around the house ignoring each other. I think that's extremely childish.
Yeah.
And I don't want to live in that type of situation. And I don't think she should be subjected to the ignorance of a childish mindset from a man living in that type of environment. I don't want to be a player no more. Them days gone. Hey, let me tell you something. And this is the honest and goodness truth. If I don't never get no more pussy ever again in life, I've had enough. And I'm just being really honest with people. Like, I've been blessed from the time I started having sex in high school to have the best of the best, the cutest of the cutest, and the finest of the finest women. And I just feel like in this moment with this woman who I'm really learning to love in a different kind of way, like, I got one of the baddest bitches on the block right now. So I don't have to stray away.
Man.
So, man, again, I appreciate you for coming on. Anything you want to say before we wrap this up?
Nah, I just appreciate you having me on, and I want to commend you for everything that you're doing with this podcast and just the positive energy that you give when you talk, man. You're definitely an inspiration for me. And like I said, our first conversation hit it off real well. So, man, I salute you, man, and I appreciate you, man, and I appreciate you being in my sister's life, man, because she means a lot to me, and I want things to prosper the way they're supposed to be, man. So my hat is off to y'all, man.
Appreciate it, Mike. Hey, we got to do this again, Mike.
Hey, I'm here, man. Just let me know, man.
All right, bro. Appreciate it.
All right.
Hey, everybody, this has been What He Said with Kevin Walker. Thank y'all for being a part of the show tonight. Peace.